Creative Living. I'm Amy.
And I'm Max.
And today we're going to talk about kind of the balance between needing to finish projects but also knowing when we need to stop and give up.
Yes. And I'm a total hypocrite in this area, by the way. I'm just going to say that now.
Yeah, that's good.
I sometimes practice what I preach, and when it comes to this, it's really hard. It's a really hard one for me. But I think we want to cover this topic because finishing your work isn't just so much about like it needing to be like the best thing that you've created with your time, but it's about like respecting your ideas and following through with them, because sometimes you might start with a really great idea and then you hit a block and then you go, oh, like, nah, I'm going to leave it. Like, I can't figure it out. But sometimes staying with something like that can lead to some amazing breakthroughs.
Yes.
And lead to something even better, or lead to an even better idea.
Yes.
And creating healthy habits like that where you can finish work means that often the next thing will feel easier and the next thing will be easier, and then
it's like a muscle.
Yes, I was just about to say that. It's like a muscle.
It's an exercise in self-belief and self-faith. Yeah. And I think that if you get into the habit of starting things and not finishing them, you are going to start telling yourself stories that you can't finish things, which isn't necessarily true. You just haven't. And so making sure that you follow through on the projects, especially the projects that you care about and that are serving you, or serving a greater purpose, is super important, so that you can remind yourself that you are the finisher of projects, that you do complete books, and that you have faith in your abilities to get the job done.
And actually on that,
sorry,
hey Jimmy,
you want the washing?
Yeah, I'm just coming in to get some washing. Just carry on. Thanks.
Carry on. Carry on, sir.
You can keep talking, Max. What were you saying?
I was going to say on your topic of, what did you just say? You said something, but leading on from whatever you just said, sometimes finding the deeper meaning behind why you're doing something can help you finish it as well. Knowing why you're writing this book, or producing this film, or acting, or whatever. Often if you have that deeper, more profound meaning behind what you're doing, that can help you push past those blocks. If you feel like you're just doing it for for the likes, or for something that's outside of you, then that's probably going to be an indication that you might not complete it, you might not finish it.
100%. Yeah, you have to know why you're doing the work. Like, for example, actually you've kind of said it all. That's it. Yeah. But if I was to start halfway finish a book, and I know a lot of people who do the half finished books, you have not only, I'm about to say something really brutal, but you've not only let down yourself because you haven't given the opportunity to prove to yourself what you're capable of, but you let down the stories that you are telling, which deserves to be told and can be only told by you. So I think it is a service to yourself and a service to your stories when you make sure that you finish the books that you write.
Right.
That being said,
I hope the mic's okay. I don't know what happened last time.
You're a menace. That being said, it is really important to know that you need to quit. Yeah. Because not everything is made to complete.
No.
And for striking the balance between making sure that you are someone who finishes projects that mean something to you, and that you follow through, and that you serve your story, serve yourself, and have faith in your abilities, but also knowing when something no longer serves you, when you need to let it go to give space for something else.
Yeah.
And that is going to be a very individual thing. But I think a really good indicator is when it really isn't serving you.
Yes.
And it isn't serving any greater purpose.
And looking at where it's coming from, what place is it coming from?
Yeah.
Is probably one of the best indicators.
Like, for example, I know a lot of people who don't want to quit their jobs because they don't want to feel like quitters. But when it gets to the point when your job is serving somebody else, not you, not your life, not your goals, when you're a slave to somebody else's to-do list, when you are deeply unhappy and the only reason why you're not quitting because you don't want to be a quitter, that's cowardly.
Yeah, it is. No, I think that's a good word for it. And there's no judgment at the same time when I say that, but you do need to kind of take a good look.
Yes.
And be honest with yourself. Because we've all been there.
Yes, 100%.
We've all been there again and again and again, not just like one time.
Yeah. I'm really stubborn, so like for me quitting's really hard. And I'm the sort of person who will stubbornly hold on to tasks until they're done, which it can be a really good quality, but it does mean that I hold on to jobs for too long. I hold on to projects for too long when they are not serving me or my dreams anymore, and it's a waste of time.
I'm the complete opposite.
Yeah, interesting.
So I like the amount of jobs I've been through where I've been there for about a week, and I'm like, nah, fuck this.
Yeah.
Or the amount of ideas Amie has to.
You follow through.
I follow through on some, but
Yeah.
I have so many that I'll just touch on, and then I'll go, well, I'll come back to that. I'll come back to this, and I have to make that conscious choice sometimes to sit down and just sit with it and go, I need to finish this.
Yeah.
But it's really hard to finish it for me. I'm often really good at finishing stuff that it's like for other people,
Yes.
obviously. But now I've lost my point.
A lot of creatives have that issue because we have so many ideas, and I speak to so many writers who have like 10 book ideas going at once, and they can't finish any of them because they've got 10 book ideas, and the thought of having to abandon 9 of them to focus on the one freaks them the fuck out. And I understand that, but you have to put your faith in the one, and you have to put your faith in the fact that you're made to tell complete stories, not half stories, and that you need to exercise some of that discipline and reach into the more it's like, I guess it's like the less creative, less artistic part of yourself that just sits down and does the work.
I love that post. You've reposted it a few times where you complete your work to about 80%.
Yeah.
So that is so good, because if you can at least complete something, even if you feel like it's 80% of what you can do, you're going to have such a deep satisfaction from that completion than not completing it at all because you couldn't quite reach 100.
Yeah. It's a really good point. So when we say complete things, we're not talking about perfectionism, and perfectionism is just as bad as not being able to commit to anything at all, in my opinion. Yeah. So this quote that I put online, it's Hank Green, and he talks about how he only ever does anything creative to the 80% because the rest of the 20% he doesn't know whether he's making it better or worse. And for those of you who've done any creative project, you do get to that stage where you don't know. You're just fucking around with it, changing words and sentences that make no real difference. And at that 80% mark, it's time to stop, and it's time to give it to somebody else and to put it out into the world in a way that you can receive feedback from other people.
So yeah, that's usually when showing your work is
the time.
Really,
Yes,
really
and that's what I was saying before. Showing it earlier can be dangerous, but that's another topic for another time.
Maybe we'll do that next time.
Yeah.
So understanding that finishing your work, just like you said, isn't about it being perfect. It's just about finishing and going that you've put your all into this baby, and you've watched it grow, and you're now going to let it go. And there's a real deep happiness that can come with that, and a grief and all these other things, but that's what you want, because you'll feel more satisfied with your work overall than having a whole lot of half-finished things that never get round to actually being seen by anyone. Yeah, your art needs to be seen by the world. If that's what you feel called towards, then you need to make sure that your art gets to a place where you can release it into the wild, because you have something very valuable to show that nobody else can make. So you need to do yourself the service and get it to the 80%. It's a complicated topic, I think, because there's so many nuances and so much balance and so many exceptions as well.
Exactly.
Always going to be some exception to the rule, so
you need to look at listen to yourself. Look at it from your perspective. Definitely. But speedy. Done. Completed. Bye-bye.